In the 90s, Philips invented a modern replacement for the classical analog audio cassette, which also had been invented by Philips. They called it Digital Compact Cassette, short DCC. Here we see a DCC player of the third generation. It is a Philips DCC 951. Today, this is some kind of historical hi-fi device. Hello everybody, I'm Thomas Falkner and I'm an electronics technician and software developer from Germany. Today I would like to show you a very special self-made device, a so-called IDDS box. DCCs were produced from 1992 to 1996. At that time, a lot of music albums from famous artists appeared not only on vinyl or CD, but also on DCC. For example, from ABBA, Madonna, Scorpions, and many others. There are about 1500 pre-recorded DCCs. The first digital compact cassette that I bought was the album Pictures from the band Wet Wet Wet. Maybe you know the song Love Is All Around. I bought exactly this cassette because there is a video on YouTube from the DCC Museum in California, where they demonstrate an original IDDS box with this cassette. So I had the chance to compare my own IDDS result with the shown contents there. Only a few people know there's a secret on all those tapes. You can not only hear the recorded music in a high digital quality, the DCC contains also some hidden information. We can find information about the artist, the album, the songs, and many more. Some cassettes even have lyrics stored. That's great, but why don't most people know about that? This is because normal DCC player can only play the recorded music. They don't display this additional text-based information. To make it visible, Philips invented the IDDS box as an add-on to the DCC player. Unfortunately, the development of the DCC format was discontinued before a corresponding display device came on the market. Only 4 known prototypes exist in the world, which can display IDDS data. That's how I came up with the idea to develop such a device by myself by using modern technology. Today, after spending 10 months of work in my spare time, I'm proud to present you the result. Since this is something like the next generation of IDDS device, so I called it IDDS Box in G. There is a 4-inch touch display on the front of the 3D printed case. At the rear side you can find 3 ports. The left one is a USB port. This can be connected to a power supply or to a computer for IDDS data transfer. The right ports are digital audio inputs in an optical and electronical version. In my setup, the electronical audio input is connected to my DCC player's audio output. After inserting the tape, the first what we see is the main menu. The IDDS content is organized in separate channels. Each channel is dedicated to a topic. There are some most common predefined channels which can be reached by the fixed menu on the bottom. Here we have the album information. The album name is Pictures and the band name is Wet Wet Wet. At this point we see information about the artists involved in the current song. Because this album is recorded from one band, so the artists on all songs are more or less the same. The songwriter or the producer may still be different. But there are sampler albums where the artist information differs from song to song. On the track list we see a list of all songs on the tape and the playing time. The cursor on the left side shows which song is currently playing. At the moment, the first song. Now we are back on the first channel, the main menu. Because we have a touchscreen on this device, we can click on a menu entry directly. On the original device, this is not possible. Now we will look to other tape with much more content. The album Human Wheels from John Mellencamp. This DCC shows that not only predefined topics are allowed. Here we have, for example, a channel dedicated to a tight member of the band. On the album channel we can see that even simple graphics can be shown. The cross is composed of small parts like a mosaic. The most interesting IDDS content on DCCs are lyrics, I think. Unfortunately, very few tapes with lyrics exist. Keep in mind that the lyrics are displayed synchronously with the music. The texts can be shown not only line by line. There are many creative possibilities here. Now I want to connect my IDDS box NG with my notebook. And here we are on my personal computer. This is a Windows system, and here we see the link to my IDDS box application. This application is made to view, record, playback and analyze IDDS data. On the right side we see the connection tab, and we see that the device is not connected at the moment. Now I insert the USB connector, and we see the application has found the device automatically, and the data stream has started. In the middle we see the content window, but at the moment we have no content because the tape in the player is still stopped, and so we see here the copyright screen instead. On the left side we will see some small preview windows which shows a small version of the content for each found channel. Here we see the front panel window. This is designed like the original device. Here a picture of the original IDDS box. All elements like buttons or LEDs are full functional. So we can say this is a kind of simulator for IDDS box. Now I want to start the tape.
and we see on the left side one by one the channels where we found on the stream, and we see we have 7 channels on this tape, and the default channel is usually the main menu, and now we have content on our content main window. We can reach these channels on different ways. The first way is to click on the preview window, and we found, for example, the tracklist window or artist window, the band window, and so on. Another way is, especially for predefined channels, to click on the button of the front panel. Another way is over the main menu. We can click directly on a menu entry, for example the band, and then we reach the band page. And here we can go back. The original IDDS box has no preview window and no touchscreen and no mouse function. The only way to reach channels is, on the one hand, by clicking the button for predefined channels, and for channels like the band, what is not predefined, so there is no buttons there, you can use these buttons here, and we will see a cursor on the first menu entry, and we can choose a channel, and by clicking the enter button we reach the chosen channel. Back to the left side, we can see that some channels have more than one pages. For example, the band channel, here we can see that there are 3 pages. The preview window switches between the available pages automatically, and on the front panel we can switch between these pages by clicking this cursor up and down button. This works all as the same like the original IDDS box. I hope. On the right side we see, besides the connection tab, the recorder tab. We can record the IDDS data stream to a dump file, and we have the option to compress the data stream to save space on the file system. And below, on the File tab, we see a list of such recorded files. We can play back, for example, the tape from the Scorpions. And we see now we have new content in our windows. And on the bottom we have the player. And the player shows that the full length of the recorded part is 49 minutes and 50 seconds. And the player runs in real time at the moment. We see it here. But we can increase the speed. This is interesting, for example, for showing the lyrics. We can go to the lyrics channel, and now we have to wait for the lyrics, and we can speed up this by increase the playback speed. For example, now we have 8 times speed as normal. I can increase it a little bit more, 60 time. And so on. Now I stop the playback. Besides the File tab, we have a Status tab, and here we can see some additional technical information about the digital audio interface from the player. And for example, we see here we have pulse code modulation, and we see that the tape is copyright protected and the kind of tape is pre-recorded, and the type of device what is connected is a DCC player, of course, but it could also be a CD player or a digital tuner or something else. And we see, for example, the sampling frequency is 44 kilohertz and so on. And here we see we are on the sector A at the moment. This means we are on the side A, and the last track was running. What was running was track number 2. The next tab is the IDDS tab. It shows some additional DCC specific informations. Here we see we have a device of the 3rd generation, and this is an important difference to the original device. The original IDDS box can only play IDDS informations of devices of the 1st or 2nd generation, and my IDDS box is an IDDS box of the next generation, and it can also play informations of devices of the 3rd generation. The difference between the 1st and 2nd generation on the one hand and the 3rd generation on the other hand is the fragmentation of the IDDS message. Next, what I want to show you are 2 special cases of IDDS pages which I have found while developing and testing my application. The first is on the John Mellencamp DCC, what we have seen before. So we go back to it. I have it here. And we have to go to the, I can stop the player. And we can go to the album information. On this content window we have a context menu. We can reach it with a right click, and here we see some additional functions. For example, full screen mode looks like this, or another special mode is the black and white mode. In this case, all color information is ignored. But there's something strange. Maybe you have seen when I go back to the black and white mode, some additional text appeared here. There are 2 questions now. Why do we see this text here only in the black and white mode? And why does exist this text? To explain this, I will show you how the colors works on this page. I go to another mode. This shows the control codes. Control codes are special values which are responsible for the appearance of the text. For example, here we have a control code double high. This means the following text has the double high. We see it here. It covers 2 lines. And this control code, for example, is responsible for the foreground. It sets the foreground to the color 3, and the color 3 is yellow. This control code is responsible for the background, and it sets the background to the color 2. This is green, and so on. What we here see is the control code for the foreground color, and it sets this color to the value 0, and 0 stands for the black color. In other words, the text is written in a black color on a black background, so we don't see it. Here it is. Now, what is the sense behind this? To explain this, I must show you the function of these 3 buttons here. The IDDS system was designed not only for big displays with 21 lines, but also for smaller devices, for example, DCC players itself, or mobile devices, or devices for the car. And such small devices have maybe only 1 or 2 lines. And to simulate this mode with 1 or 2 lines, we have these buttons here. First I switch off these special modes, and now I switch on a 1-line mode, and what we see is this text, what we seen before, black on black. Here can we see it because on the 1-line mode the color information are ignored. On the 2-line code we see a little bit more information. So I go back to the 21-line mode, and I don't know why the editor of this page uses this way to hide this text for the 1-line mode. I think this is a wrong way, because what would happen if a newer device can handle colors on a 1-line display, then the hack wouldn't work. The right way would be to use the field for the line number. On the on the IDDS message exists a field for the line number, and if this line number has a value 0, then the text isn't shown on a 21-line display. By the way, on this page we can see how the graphics work. I switch back to color, and I can show a grid, and so we see the small pieces of graphics which are composed to the complete graphic here. The color of the cells shows us what kind of character we have here. Yellow means we have a graphics care set. Green means we have a standard care set for normal characters, and there also exists a blue color and blue cell, but not on this page here. This means we have an extended care set for special characters for some countries. Now I want to show you the second special page. I found it on the album of Katie Mattea. We have a thumb here, and it is on the lyrics. And now I have to search the correct position. It must be here. Okay. The lyrics are running now. This is the page I searched for. At first sight, there is no unusual on this page. To understand what the problem is here, I must show you and explain you something about control codes. For this, I have to switch to another application. This one. This is an application to edit teletext informations. You have to know that the IDDS layout format is based on the teletext format. In Germany, teletext is known as video text. Here we see a field of 25 lines and 40 characters each line. I make the grid visible so we can see it better. I can write here some text. Banana, for example, and I write it again. And now I want to show you the function of control codes. For example, I insert here a control code for the color. Bananas usually yellow. And I make the control codes visible. And what we here see is the control code for the force color yellow, and the banana now is yellow. Now I change the control code to another control code. First I have to remove this and now insert a control code for the text size. First we make the characters double high. Oh, it was the wrong position. Let me do it reverse. We have to go here. Now I insert the control code for double high and we see the word banana has the double high and it overlaps the next line. So far, all okay. But now I want to use another control code, in this case control code for double size, double high and double wide. And now we have a problem. Some characters are disappeared. But why is this? This is because the space on this line is always the same, and if one character is doubled wide, then it needs a space of two characters. And for example, this P on the beginning overlapped now the A, so the A is covered and not visible. And the N is shown double wide, and it covers the A, and so on. What can we do? The solution is simple. We write the word again. No. In this way. And if we use the control code now here, it works. This is because we use only every second position for a character. So far so good. But what happens when I remove this control code and I insert it here? Insert, double size. Now the text is completely disappeared. Why is this? I write the text here again for better understanding. Okay, and what is happened now? The control code for double size makes all characters double size directly behind the control code. This means on this position we have a space, and now the space is double wide. It covers the P. The next character is also on space, and it is double wide and it covers the A, and so on. In other words, all the spaces are now double wide and not the characters. This is a problem. In other words, it is important that the control code has the right distance to the text. If not, it don't work. Now we have the knowledge to understand the problem of the IDDS page. And we can go back. Okay, here we are. And I make the control codes visible. And first we look at the left word, grant. Here we have the control code TS for double size. And between the TS and the first character we have two positions. This means the first, here's a space. This space is double wide. It needs this place. I can show the grid maybe. Spaces are not, there are no cells on spaces. But here is a space, it is double wide. And the next character is here and all works fine. But here, and I think this is a mistake, here are the control codes for the color and for double size are swapped. The result is that between the control code and the first character, there are three spaces. This one from the color control code and two empty spaces. And a normal teletext decoder wouldn't show the word canyon. And in my early version of my application, I saw only the word grant. And I analyzed it and I find the problem what I have explained now. I changed my program in this way that I jump over control codes under the first normal character and I begin to toggle here. And this method works for both cases. But this is more a hack to fix this special problem, and it is not a way how our normal teletext encoders work. So it would be interesting what the original device would make with this special page. Now we have seen all of my application, and we dived a little bit deeper in the internals of the layout format of the IDDS system. I hope it was interesting for you.
Thank you for watching my video. I will be back if I have further information about IDDS. Have a nice day.